I'm here today for the third part of the Fender flare tutorial slash DIY, whatever you want to call it. I've got all the metal to cut it out, so let's get to it. So things should move pretty quickly. All I really got to do is just take them off the car, which is going to be super simple. Take them onto the metal, cut them out of metal, and then just hopefully they line up and tack right up, and from there I can do the extra little bits that I was talking about in the previous video. Now at first I was a little concerned with the way that this would fit, mainly just how it would fit across here, because I didn't want it to be cutting into the tire at all, but it's actually, the way I cut this, it's actually really good. It hangs over the tire just a tiny bit, just enough so that there's no way that this is going to be cutting into the tire. Yes, it absolutely 100% is going to rub. Now, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is not going to cut into the tire, because the difference is it would more like this rather than hanging over. That's gonna rub, but this is gonna cut into it. So hopefully you guys understand that, but this actually turned out so well. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the rest of them, and then I'll come back and I'm just gonna start tacking these up, and then maybe we'll move on to the rest of the flare. So I just now got them all cut out of metal. The front ones, I'm kind of having an issue with the fitment on the tire itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to deal with that later after I mount it up. I'll just grind it down until it's where I want it to be. I think that's the best thing. And then if not, I'll cut it off and I'll just remake it or something and redo the template. Not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but that's kind of what's up. The rear ones are like perfect. I have like no issues with the rear ones at all. I'm still going to grind it back a little bit just to make it just perfect, and then the front ones, they need quite a bit of work, but we'll deal with that down the road. So next thing is to bring this thing over to the street so I can start to weld them up, and then we'll see if we use any kind of sealant to go across there, because I'm not going to weld the whole thing. I'm just going to kind of tack it every like 2 inches or so, just to make sure it holds on there, but something so that I can just cut it off if I need to. So now, get everything set up, and I'm gonna start tack welding the fender flare to the fender itself, and we'll see how it fits. Hopefully it fits pretty well. The rear should go pretty smooth. The front, like I said, fitment wasn't so great, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, get started on the rear fender. It should go pretty smooth. So I'm actually gonna mark about every 2 to 3 inches just to make each spot weld kind of even and kind of give it some structure and, I don't know, make it look nice. And then after I mark it, just go ahead and spot weld it all the way across, and then I'll move it all the way around, and once I do it to all of them, then we're done. Until I have to modify the fronts to get the fitment a little bit better, but that might be for another video. So as you just saw, I finished up tack welding all the fenders. The fronts look terrible right now. They need quite a bit of modification. The rears are pretty much almost where I want them to be. They need a little bit of adjustment, but I mean, that was to be expected. This has like a gap. It kind of goes in right there, whereas this one doesn't. This is the one that I made the template for. So obviously, since these two were kind of a little bit different, since this thing is so hacked and the fenders are kind of hacked a different way, that this isn't quite gonna fit the same as the other one, but it was pretty similar. All I gotta do is bring this out and I'm gonna tack weld that. Not an issue. This I kind of had some issues with, but I'm gonna clean that up later. This whole thing needs to be cut. You can see from the front, like I was bitching about in the second part of this video, how big this piece is. It's even bigger now, but you can see I have quite a big gap here, so I can take a lot of material out of that, and then once I finish off, should look good. Now the rear's looking pretty good. This one, the gap around the tire is not only a little small, but also I kind of had to bring this up a little bit just so it's not, you know, resting on it at all times. The front was rubbing whenever we moved it, as you probably could hear, but overall it's looking pretty good. The fronts are just awful right now. That I don't even want to look at those, but the rears, it's looking pretty badass. I'm pretty happy with the way they came out. Even some of my tack welds were halfway decent. This one, not so much, but looking pretty good. I've got quite a bit of clearance all the way throughout here. It's gonna rub a shit ton, but I was expecting that, so it's whatever. Anyways guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you in a few days for the 4th part of this video, and peace out.
Dare you, I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what?
One more time.